Good afternoon from New Jersey, and welcome to Penn's Perspectives on Company Roots. Today, I'm interviewing Talreja Akshat, a sophomore in Wharton, the founder and president of AIPenn, and the vice president of events in the Wharton Undergraduate Data Analytics Club. Thank you for coming on today, and it's a privilege to interview and connect with you. My name is Suresh Jasti, and I'm a rising freshman at the Wharton School, and I'm from Homedale, New Jersey. And the first question that I always ask everybody is, what are your roots? And how do they help you in shaping your ideas and becoming the person you are today?
Definitely, man. Glad to be here, first of all, right? So I originally come from India. That's where I was born. That's where I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
Around like grade 5 or so, that's when I moved to Singapore. That's where I've been educated, lived for like a greater part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of like, some of the things that you mentioned, like AI at Penn and how I got involved in these things. So from an early age, I was interested in the area of robotics. So
Yeah.
that's what I, did around grade 5, grade 6 and times like that. And naturally, right, with the advances that were happening around then, I got exposed to the field of AI. And naturally, I was very young. So, I used to read about things and, just stuff like that. And around high school was when I really sort of began getting more involved. A couple of online courses, did some internships in areas like natural language processing, fraud detection.
Mm-hmm.
And while doing this, that's when, I got fascinated with the idea of building machines that could one day rival our own intelligence.
Yeah.
And that's what just motivated me to work in this field, because I truly felt that it was the future and it'll be enormous in like every industry vertical and just a lot of areas.
Yeah.
Around then, I was also involved with a startup where what we did was we worked to develop computer science solutions like apps, platforms for NGOs and not-profits, just so they can expand their reach and, impact a greater set of people. And just that experience, drove me towards entrepreneurship and, got fascinated with the startup world. And that, I think these two are the main areas that have shaped me and have just, motivated me to, come to Wharton, work in the areas of AI, startups and things like that. That's just like a background of, yeah.
And, as a person who's been very involved in AI, how would you recommend that people who aren't as interested in, computer science and coding interact with the whole AI boom that's going on?
Definitely. So I think there are a number of things, right? So on one side, naturally, right, there's like a technical side to it. There's a lot of math involved, a lot of computer science. But there are a whole host of things. So one of the things that I would personally say is if you're not exactly interested in technical things, AI startups, big companies have a number of opportunities, let's say, in marketing, business development, finance, stuff like that. So being involved in the AI ecosystem doesn't just mean being involved in like creating models or creating AI systems, but it could further be just working with companies that are revolutionizing the game and innovating in this industry. At the same time, a lot of AI, while there are a lot of developments like in machine learning, things that are on the research front, like building new models, creating systems that are, work better than what we already have. A lot of this is just applied. So, a lot of, maybe if you're not as interested in the technical side, if you've done coding, then you can code, you can build some models, work on the applied side of things. But I think that's just one area that a lot of people are right now who are non-majoring in CS or something are incorporating technical courses that, teach the basics of coding, basics of data science. So I think that is another thing that I would personally say would be beneficial, because AI is going to have like an increasing presence in a whole host of industries.
Yeah.
And I personally believe that people who are aware of how to leverage this technology to create solutions and solve problems that are yet unsolved would definitely have an edge.
Yeah, definitely. And so kind of going into your organization, AI Penn, I know there's just let me know if you can't answer certain questions because of the, current media policies, but for every organization to, flourish, there has to be an incredible team. So what qualities do you look for in your team at AI Penn?
Absolutely. No, that's a great question, right? So I think just to begin with, what we think about, right, is you don't need to have like a great experience or a great deal of things already done in AI, because people are just starting out, right? It's university. So the first thing to look at is a real passion for this technology. And this doesn't just mean that you're excited about like new research developments. This can be literally anything, like new applications, or if you're excited about AI within finance. I think passion is one big thing. The other thing that we personally value our entire team is ambition. So we like big ideas. So some new initiatives you want to do, maybe like new events you want to organize. We like people who can just take initiative, bring these ideas forth, and take them to completion. Because ultimately our purpose is to create a community for students and to make sure that people are introduced to the fields of AI, and that sort of thing. So we want people who can, bring the next best like event or next best method of sort of achieving what the vision of the entire club.
Mhm.
And I think apart from that, it's just having creativity, being able to voice your ideas. I think there's a whole sort of qualities that go there. But I think the two main things that we look at is ambition and a passion for the industry, and the desire to learn more about it.
Yeah, definitely. And for prospective new club members,
Yeah.
how would you describe the atmosphere of the club with the people in it, and what is the biggest benefit about making it in?
Definitely. So we just started recently, right? So this is a new club that has been established. So I guess being how the atmosphere of the club is or what, at least what we plan it to be is, it's a very friendly community. So we want people who are interested in AI, who want to, maybe make a career out of it, or just interested in its applications, to have like a group of people that they can truly connect with.
Yeah,
So, at any point of time, if you're reading about something, you don't understand it. We want you to have one person that, maybe you've met through AI at Penn that you can just call up and ask your questions. So you're
yeah,
going to have a close-knit community. And I think that is something that we plan to have as part of AI at Penn. So students are getting access to the resources that, going on. At
yeah,
the same time, the other things that we think are, maybe quite valuable is we are planning to organize a speaker series with leading executives in the field of AI. And at the same time, we are running an educational boot camp that is focused on solving business problems using AI. And we feel, and these are accessible not just to like AIPenn members, but literally anyone, like anyone in the school community. So
yeah,
being a part of AI at Penn doesn't have to mean that you're a part of our committees, like, the different like boards that we have. It could just mean that you're a general body member who's attending our events, who's engaging with us, who's conversing with us. And I think that is something that, I would want people to attend, because, I truly think that this could be like great opportunity to learn more about the field of AI.
yeah,
And yeah, I think that's just like an overview of how, we're approaching this and what sort of culture you can expect by being a part of the club.
yeah. And for a person who enters as a freshman, let's say, by the end of their freshman year or sophomore year of being at AI Penn, what experiences and what types of knowledge do you expect them to have by the end of that?
Absolutely. So naturally, right now, this has multiple facets depending on like your kind of involvement. So I'll go like in each of these, right? So if you're part of our committees, you get experience on like whatever the work each of them is doing. So if you're a part of our events committee, you get extensive experience in, reaching out to speakers, conducting outreach, getting speakers on board, conversing with leading executives and persuading them, and also on the organizational and logistics side of things on how, how we can organize events and those sort of things.
Yeah,
On a marketing front, you'll get a lot of experience with design. Once again, boosting engagement within the entire school community. And this will be pretty exciting, at least now, because we're in a virtual semester, and, boosting engagement is slightly different
yeah,
from what it would have been. So that's just an exciting opportunity. And I think being a part of our education committee, they essentially work to develop the curriculum for our education branch. And, being a part of there, you'll be able to, get your hands dirty with making models, making curriculum, and essentially also, translating that into education. So, if you're interested in, areas like teaching and, working with others, then that'll also be a great opportunity. In terms of just, general body members, like who are attending our events, the educational bootcamp is designed not just to introduce you to AI, but on tackling real life problems, like, real life problems in areas like marketing, finance.
mhm,
So you'll be able to build a toolkit out of the different AI models and technologies available. So, going forward at your internship or maybe other experiences, if you are looking at applying AI models, you would have some sort of background and, a foundation to rely on.
yeah,
And at the same time, if you're interested in broadly exploring the AI ecosystem and what is going on, our speaker events are specially tailored to introducing you to speak to executives who are game changers, who are, just coming up with new ideas and revolutionizing the field. So you'll be able to interact with them,
yeah,
learn about the work they are doing, and build your, I guess, just gain more information about what is going on in the AI ecosystem, and, what things you would have as opportunities when you, step into the industry at the end of your university time, I guess. Yeah.
yeah. And that's awesome. You're really trying to foster like a great network, and it's pretty well rounded from what I can see. So, applause for that.
Yes, man.
Um,
Thank you.
my next set of questions is going to go into, some of your personal life and backgrounds, and
Yeah.
also what you want to make of Penn, since you're just a sophomore and you have like a
Yeah.
lot of time still. So what is the most interesting class that you've taken at Penn, and how have you applied some of those lessons in real life?
Absolutely. Right. So I've only been for like 1 year, right? So I only have like a set of 5 classes that I can choose from. but I think I'll give two, right? Because I think bit depending on like whatever I've done. But
Mhm.
one class that I think was very, very rewarding for me is CIS 160. So the class is Mathematical Foundations of Computer Science,
Okay.
and it's one of the hardest classes that the SIS department has to offer, essentially, at least like according to us, like when we taken.
Yeah.
But I think that class is particularly interesting because coming into Penn, like I had a certain sys background, that had to involve like coding in Java, building applications, a bit of AI, machine learning, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Sys 160 really introduced me to a new side of thinking. So how it has like sort of like a puzzle like vibe where you're solving like mathematical problems and puzzles that are sys oriented.
Yeah.
So it just changed my way of thinking about computer science, and I think the impact it has had is not like very very direct, but just on a broad scale, I'm now able to look at problems in a different way. I
Yeah.
think that experience has been definitely like very rewarding. And I think
Mhm.
a lot of people say this, but it's probably like one of the best classes you take if you're like in a sys department or if you're just interested in there. I think apart from that, the other class that was particularly rewarding was it was actually a half credit. It was actually a half credit course. It was Stat 405. So it was statistical computing, and they based it off in R. So the problem was what they worked on is first of all teaching you the R language and how you can solve data science and questions like that using R. And I
Mhm.
think that was particularly relevant for me because over the summer, for example, I worked as a data science intern at a startup, and then as a summer analyst, working on technology, like working on building a platform for another company. And I think it was just a very relevant experience because work had that class really prepared me for how to solve problems in areas like data science and apply them, and that's something that I ended up doing. So I think these two were really rewarding classes for me.
Yeah. And you were a venture fellow at Ripple Ventures. So what was
Yes.
special to you about that program, and like was it engaging, and who would you recommend it to and why?
Absolutely. So I just joined this program, right? So the reason, so like as I mentioned, right, I'm interested in AI. I'm interested in startups, and I think one of the things that I see myself doing in the long run is working in the area of venture capital, perhaps working at a startup. And I think the Ripple program, now obviously like they'll be able to give, this is just like my perspective on it, but I think it's a great opportunity for people who are either aspiring founders or aspiring venture capitalists or want to work at a startup. And I believe the program allows you to delve deeper into the venture world, to see how venture capitalists view startups, to see how what the process of forming a new venture is, the whole host of complexities that arise as a part of that.
Yeah.
So in terms of who I would recommend people is, if you have an interest in like venture capital, if you're interested in technology, you want to work at a startup, literally like if you want to just be involved within the venture ecosystem around colleges or even beyond, then I
Yeah.
think this program could be a great opportunity for you. Yeah.
Gotcha. And from there, when you look back at your time in Penn after, let's say, 10 years, what
Hmm.
are some of the little things that you'll remember about your freshman year?
Absolutely. I think there's just like a whole host of things, right?
Mhm.
So NSO is awesome. I know it's going to be virtual now, so that's going to be a bit different. But I think NSO was just amazing. Just meeting new people. That was just a fantastic experience because over the whole week, it was just interacting with, any literally like different people at different events. And I personally love meeting new people. I
Yeah.
think that was just amazing. Another experience that I really value is Pinnacle. So I was a part of a pre-orientation program at Penn, and that was an amazing experience because it just allowed me to be a part of a close-knit community. So Pinnacle is essentially the pre-orientation program focused on leadership. And I think coming into Penn, with having like no friends on campus like before like joining, I
Yeah.
think that just allowed me to build a network. I think some of my best friends were from Pinnacle. So I think these two experiences were really great. And I think beyond that, I think clubs are just an amazing part of Penn. So, being involved within extracurriculars, I think that has been really meaningful to me. So,
Mhm.
be it BODAC, be it AI at Penn, I've been able to forge friendships, learn from people who are doing fantastic things at Penn.
Yeah.
And I think, to incoming freshmen, I would really say, just put yourself out there and just be a part of clubs, working in areas that you like and value, because at least for me that has been probably like one of the most valuable experiences, at least extracurricularly at Penn. Yeah.
Definitely. And if you could have a sit-down conversation with any one person on Penn's campus, who would it be?
Oh, sorry, could you repeat that question? I couldn't gather.
If you could have a sit-down conversation with any one person on Penn's campus, who would it be?
That's definitely a hard question. Any person, right?
Any person.
I'll go a traditional route. I'll probably say Dr. Adam Grant.
Hmm.
I think some of his ideas like are revolutionary. He's naturally like an expert in this field,
Yeah.
and coming from like a very sort of technical background, right, in machine learning and things like that, and with my interest going into the field of venture capital and entrepreneurship, I think his work on organizational psychology and things around that will be amazing to chat about.
Yeah.
And I think some of his TED talks and stuff. From what I gather from them, is he's an amazing person, a lot of great source of knowledge, if I could put it that way. And
Yeah.
yeah, if I had the opportunity, I would love to speak to him about some of his ideas, some of the work he's doing, and things like that.
Yeah. And so my last question for today is, what one piece of advice would you give to current and prospective Penn students, and how do you
Yeah.
recommend they start the process of becoming a full-fledged, you know, academic student here?
Absolutely. I think some of the big one big advice that was given to me when I joined, and I think it'll be probably like very beneficial, is when you come into the Penn community, right? Like you'll see a lot of students doing a lot of things, and it's easy to get overwhelmed. People are involved in a lot of things. People say there's like a competitive culture and things like that. But one thing that I found is reaching out to people is just amazing. So if you're facing like any problems, be it like in academics or maybe like regarding recruitment, if you're recruiting for internships or just like in terms of just being a part of a university, because it's a new experience after high school, then
Yeah.
reaching out to people, and this doesn't just mean like people in your class, but any like seniors you have come in contact with, like sophomores, juniors, that's great. Because from what I've gathered, and I didn't do this a lot like when I began, but people are really willing to help out at that. And if you just maybe just drop them a Facebook message or like message on LinkedIn, like hi, I'm like Akshat, I'm interested in, I just wanted to learn about, let's say, like internships in like the field of data science. Do you have a minute to chat? I think most people will be very willing to help out and
Yeah.
give you insights on that process. And I think just coming in, it's easy to get like overwhelmed with the whole host of things that are going on, and reaching out and asking for help is something that will probably allow you to navigate the entire ecosystem in a better way, and can also allow you to forge a lot of relationships that will be extremely valuable going forward. So that's just like my 2 cents on what like one advice for incoming freshmen.